Sounds good.
Gotcha.
Sounds good.
And then let me have a look. Just double check. Bit of chit chat. And then I intro in Nuno. Okay. Do I have to ask any questions to Nuno? I've not been sent. Okay, let me ask him.
Something strange is coming over me. Lately I can see, and I can tell if my life is a dream or reality. Feeling all kind of strange emotions, I don't know what is happening. Suddenly becoming frozen, and the sunshine is dazzling. 'Cause I'm Can you feel the tension in the air? I can't help but stare. And I would love for you to hold me near. Let's just disappear. And I don't know where you have come from, but I know that I'd like to see where it is that you are going. Take a chance and come with me. With me. 'Cause I'm losing my mind. Every day thinking about you. All the time. I'm wondering just what you wanna do. 'Cause I'm losing my mind.
Exeedme revolution going on. grand final time for the Exeedme blockchain tournament here, folks. I am Scriv. Joining me is going to be Retro today, your first day on, but here for the grand final. Going to be a lot of fun, I think, to see Utrust up against Umbrella Network. If you are just joining us, perhaps play off against each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Very excited to see this one, as you mentioned. Grand final, the first and the last for me. And what a way to kick things off. And I guess to end it all, a best of one to decide who will take the crown. We'll find out very shortly. It's going to be very interesting to see how the whole best of one plays out, because it's first to 16. There's no second map to rely on. There's no traditional best of three. It is one and done. And so it means everything to both sides coming into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we have seen, and as I'm sure we'll go on to talk about, Utrust are the team to beat as well. Very, very scary. So we'll see Umbrella Network if they have done any work for it. But I do believe, before we get into anything, we've got a pretty exciting announcement here from Nuno, if he's ready and raring to go in our little chat. Should be on in just a second. So I'm excited to find out what he's got to share with us.
Hey guys, thank you for giving me some airtime. Finally, Scrib, I have some time with you. First of all, just a brief word about the tournament. You guys like Scrib and Wolfie, but also Yumi and now Retro have done a tremendous job and really helped make this live stream even better than what we planned. And there are a lot of people working on this, and I wanted to thank everyone for making this possible. Thanking also to the projects with their teams and communities that have taken part in this event. Hope you guys had as much fun as we had. Our media partners as well, Crypto News and Hacker Noon, incredible supporters in putting our vision out there. We had a lot of fun and really enjoyed that there was some competitive tension in the air. Teams really tried to exceed themselves, and they are still trying. So we are now really excited for this final between Umbrella and Utrust, and let's see who is going to win in the end. But okay, let's get to what everybody is waiting for, right? So we've been camping for a couple of days, as you know, as you've seen on social media, on Twitter, and on Telegram. And everybody's waiting for the explosion to come. So during this camping time, the community has been constantly calling us like to participate in these events. This shouldn't be just for blockchain projects. They should be also able to try the platform. And we heard them, and we heard them. So the time has arrived, and I'm really excited to tell that our platform will go live for the community, and we are opening registrations for our private beta launch. So from these registrations, 100 people will be chosen for our private beta launch, and each of them will also have 9 invitations, which can bring the number of people with access to the platform to 1,000. Okay. So we are really looking forward to having our community exceeding. So don't waste your opportunity. Check our website and register for the beta.
All right. That sounds good. That sounds good. Am I going to have a spot?
Of course you will, but you have to go to the site first.
Oh, of course.
Go there and register.
Yeah, indeed. Yo, that sounds so cool. I do believe as well we've got a video showing that off for you guys that we're going to take a look at now. Hello, welcome in everybody. We've got a nice new product here from Exeedme, their crypto gaming platform. I'm going to be showing it off to you guys. It allows gamers many skill levels to monetize their ability, right? It sounds so cool, and I'm pretty excited to show it off to you guys. So now I'm going to show you how the platform works. There are a few different game modes available. The 5v5 game mode is already up and running, but we're going to be taking a look at the 2v2 game mode here, and I'm going to be playing alongside 3 of my mates this evening. Okay, so time for us to place our bets here. We've all agreed that we're going to add $25 or 2,500 XEs, right? The currency on the platform here for this particular round, $100 in total. $50 each to the winners, you know, pretty simple stuff. And I suppose it's time to put money where our mouth is, boys. Okay, I got him. One connector. Oh, I can already see the X's on my account, mate. Okay, all right, nice one. So we managed to get a victory in. It did take us a little bit of time. We played a few maps, but eventually we got our $50 each as well. That's so cool. And now I can show you guys how to withdraw it pretty easily from your wallet. So you can choose to cash out immediately with Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT. You know, you guys know these, or you can even more X's as well. Enjoy, guys. Go, and we're back with
That looked awesome.
more of my face. But indeed,
Yeah.
yeah, I was not aware that was going to be the video that was coming up. To be fair, yeah, we worked on it only a few days ago, so I mean, really good stuff from the team to get it out so quickly. But giving you guys a quick look into yeah, what's on the other side and what's available.
That's awesome. Actually, I'd highly recommend something like that. I feel like that's definitely something everyone should look into. That's an awesome concept. Actually, I love that. Yeah. I mean, what a way to summarize it all. 2v2 wingman. I guess it was 5v5 as well, which is great fun. Of course, play with friends as you mentioned. It is live on their website now. But let's jump into the action. Today's game, the final game. As you mentioned, Utrust the heavy favourites heading into this. And it'll be interesting to see, as we talked about before, best of one series, winner takes all, first to 16. I think everyone knows the drill right now, right? There's no second map or third map to rely on. It is just a battle of the beast to decide who will take home the championship.
Yeah, indeed. There's not a lot of room here for mistakes. I think it certainly um, is going to be a difficult one. Like we're saying from the get go, there's no real beating around the bush with that. To be honest, you trust with some of the players that they have. Of course, those ex offset members, very scary. So it's going to be a difficult one for the likes of Umbrella to come back from. But they looked strong out of the gate as well on their side of the bracket. Very dominant team. Given time that they've had, right? It's been a week since our semis. They know who they're going up against. They've actually had like 2 weeks almost, to prep things. You never know if they can get it down to a map. If they can give a good run of the money towards Utrust, I think certainly we could have a game on our hands. And I don't know. I'm quietly rooting for them. Obviously we have to remain impartial here, but I think that given what we've seen, and they have a very solid structure, I think Umbrella, if they put the time in, there is a chance on a Dust 2 or something of that sort that at the very least Utrust will have to play to a solid level. We've seen in some of the games, they'll kind of be messing about a little bit, running around with just Deagles, just Julies, Bisons, and still making quick work of it. But I feel against Umbrella, they will have to bring, at the very least, their A game.
Yeah, I think that's a highlight, right? Is that the veto means everything. In a best of one series, it is a do or die moment. You've got to find a map that for Umbrella, they've got to feel comfortable on. And for Utrust, they're going to try and put themselves on a very favorable map for themselves, but Umbrella at the same time. They're trying to force a map maybe Utrust aren't so happy with, I guess. That's the easiest way of going about it. I'm very excited to see how the veto goes. Of course, as you mentioned, the favourites coming into this one, ex-pro players. It's looking like a spicy team, and even as you mentioned, they can buy the worst of guns in the game and they still make it look way too easy. And so they're going to need a hell of a fight from the Umbrella side if they really want to give it a shot at winning.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we get into the nitty gritty, I do believe we will have another AMA upcoming for you guys. Philippe just on the other side, so do be sure to stick around for that. Utrust and Philippe, their COO, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, will be back to answer a few more questions for us in just a second here when everything is set up and ready. I do believe we are all good. Thanks once again for joining us. I believe you're okay. He's all good. He's all good. Never mind. He spotted it once again. Thanks very much, Philippe. Third time on, mate. Third time on.
Yeah. There's the charm.
Yeah, indeed. How are you feeling for the game tonight? Obviously, watching the guys. You got any insights maybe you could give us into what they're planning?
Well, I don't want to reveal too much about the strategy, but as always, I'm very confident with our team.
Yeah, well, absolutely. With some of the names on it. So we do take questions from the chat here if you guys are perhaps new to this. So it'll be me choosing them. Make sure you ask something that's interesting, and that will catch my eye. I think I'm already seeing that we've got a few in that I will shoot across to Philippe. But to begin with, first question I've got for you, my friend, a little bit more broad, I suppose, about the world of crypto. $2 trillion stimulus package coming in, right? And the idea of that obviously is, going to cause some inflation. Do you think that more institutions will therefore start looking towards crypto as an alternative? And if so, why isn't the value of crypto rising super, super fast?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very smart question. The massive increase of money supply has really brought into perspective the effects of hidden inflation in the economy. If you couple that with a massive shock in demand, this will certainly lead to widespread economic effects on the medium and also on the long term. This is kind of like printing massive amounts of in-game currency in a virtual world. While inflation has not been greatly felt by most people in goods and services, well, except graphics cards, it certainly manifested in the rise of other assets like stocks, market, real estate, commodities, and of course, cryptocurrency. I do think many institutions wanted a safe haven and saw cash as a subpar choice instead of investing their capital. Of course, pioneers took their opportunity and entered, which led to the present situation. This has certainly contributed to the rally, but of course, many other factors are in play. We should be aware that institutions don't typically enter or directly trade into the market, but instead they purchase from a custodial intermediary, which they have to secure the necessary liquidity beforehand. This can minimize any immediate market influence upon the entry of large buyers. So a surge demand is typically reflected asynchronously over time and in large periodic variations, not in real-time outcomes which are correlated with present announcements. It's likely that future surges will take time to manifest, and doing so in large and sharp swings as other institutions take a position in the market. So I do believe that this is just the beginning of a big spike.
It sounds interesting, and I think as someone who maybe coming into this tournament had less knowledge, around the crypto market and whatnot, as it's gone on, I've learned more and also started to see more. Like I'd say in the middle, NFTs and things started to gain prominence in the regular markets, I suppose, as it were. Second question here, then, say the euro, for example, goes digital. Do you reckon that would fix the problems with the current system, or would it simply just move the same system onto a new platform with those same problems?
Well, that's also a very good question. I think a digital euro will be a natural modernization and extension of our current system. Its pros and cons, of course, will be highly dependent on the specific implementation chosen by the central bank. For example, account-based versus token-based as other parallel measures that might be in place. For example, a gradual phasing out of physical cash and the role of commercial banks. So it really depends on the specifics that the European Central Bank wants to introduce on their proposal. We can envision that it would be an improved version of the current system with some of the shortcomings addressed, less intermediaries. We, of course, expect respect for the citizens' privacy as well, but many other issues still persisting from the current system. So, yeah, I would expect it to be more a modernization of the current system and not so much the decentralized world we would expect it to be from the European Central Bank.
Okay, so taking a question from the chat here, can we expect tier 2 reverse staking in the coming weeks? Apologies if that's a question that maybe you can't answer. Like I say, my knowledge is a little lacking in places, but that's one that I think has come up a couple times.
Yeah, no problem. Always happy to answer any questions. So usually we don't talk about expected timelines. We don't like to make announcements of announcements. So I cannot give a precise date of when it's coming, if it's in the coming weeks, whether in this month or tomorrow. We usually don't do announcements of announcements. That's a fair policy to avoid, over speculation over our roadmap and what our technical team and what all of our teams at Utrust are doing. So usually we don't comment on that besides what it's already public.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, to be honest. I quite like that announcement of announcement. Kind of creates maybe more hype than there needs to be. Some companies do fall into that trap.
Yeah,
from time to
but
time.
do stay on our chat, follow our channels. When we have an announcement, you'll be the first ones to know it.
There you go. There you go. Last question for you then, I suppose. Are you aiming to move towards like a decentralized PayPal kind of system?
Well, I think I've answered something similar in the previous AMA. If you compare us with PayPal, again, our models are quite different, and you could say that we already are a more decentralized version of PayPal. We work on multiple protocols, multiple base protocols in cryptocurrencies. Therefore, the rails that underpin our foundation are by nature already decentralized, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Of course, we work and make the interface with merchants and make it easy and seamless and with a really good interface, kind of like PayPal does in the fiat world. So absolutely, I think that's a valid analogy. Our models and businesses are quite similar. Intrinsically, what we do is quite similar, but the rails are quite different. Unlike PayPal, we work with a fundamentally open system. And again, addressing the previous AMA when the comparison with PayPal and other players getting into the cryptocurrency space, they are entering, yes, but they're entering a very different way. They want to close users in a walled garden. Our vision is very different. We want to use those rails and empower users. We want to be broad, and our vision is fundamentally different. We want to be intrinsically open.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Philippe, once again. I will leave you to it, and I wish you luck in the future of Utrust and, of course, in the future with the game this evening as well.
Cool, guys. Thanks very much.
All right. Wonderful stuff. There you go, indeed. Like he was saying, in the previous VODs, you can go back and check the other AMAs. There's been a couple, in fact, from Philippe, of course, now that they've made it through to the grand final. So a lot of information to break down. Obviously, some broader questions this time around. So if you want more specifics on the mechanics of Utrust, you can go back and check those VODs. Now, moving forwards, we get to talk about the Counter-Strike. This is the fun part for me and you. This is where we are the experts, of course. And we should have Vito coming in just a second. Oh, right on cue. Beautiful stuff. So we are just about to get into the action here, Retro.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at obviously Utrust, 5 Portuguese players, I think we know exactly where they're aiming for in terms of server location. And I think this matters all too much. I mean, ping, it can be a little bit of a deciding factor being online, but I don't think this will matter all too much as they'll have fun banning out the countries they do not want to play connected to. So maybe we might see the UK in there. We may, just a chance. But we'll have to wait and see. As for the veto, we were talking about it a little bit before, Script, saying that it matters majoritively the map that Umbrella are going to try and pick into Utrust. We know Utrust, they're an amazing side, as you mentioned, Exploit players. There's no denying that this team has some skill behind them. So Umbrella, I feel like this veto is heavily now in their hands. They've got to find a map that they're comfortable in that maybe Utrust aren't as well knowledged on. I guess that's the way of summing out right now as we see Vertigo, the first map to go, Mirage the second, the best of one. So it's ban until the end, and our decider will imminently be the only map of the stream.
Indeed. And it does seem, as we get down to things here, it's kind of those expected maps. We've seen Inferno, Mirage, Dust 2. That's pretty much been it the whole way through. Decent, best of one maps. You don't need as much structure to them, especially when you're looking at those Dust 2s and the Mirages. But this is kind of an interesting one because I think it is going to give the pick across to Utrust, ultimately, leaving that nuke in there. I'm pretty sure we've seen them just play Inferno, so one would assume that they're going to go back to it once again. Yes, and that is going to be the case. So the Inferno will be our deciding map for the grand final here. Our only map, as we are saying as well. Looking really, really cool. I am kind of excited. I think, Umbrella, unfortunately, have a little bit in the way of, you talk about pings and whatnot. Molten, I believe, is playing from the States. So his ping's been a little high the past few weeks. And actually, despite that, he's looked okay. He has held himself together. So if he was here with them, it could be a very different story. But those types of little things where other individuals, they've got the likes of Ploxy and Fihar, they've both looked really, really good throughout. They've been able to do a lot of the heavy lifting in the past. Against Utrust, I don't know if they will have the same kind of performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you could have summarized it better there. I feel like Utrust, it really is I feel like a David and Goliath story, right? Where Umbrella,
Hmm.
most certainly David in this situation where Utrust, they're a force to be reckoned with. We know what they're like on the server. I mean, we've seen them on stages as if there's no denying that. Uh, for Umbrella, it's a very different story. As you mentioned, they're intercontinental. They've got a player from the States. I feel like everyone's from a different country, I do believe, on that team. So again, it's one of those things. Ping can be a factor, but on a map like Inferno against a team like Utrust, I mean, you can only wonder, well, what's going to be the storyline behind it. As you mentioned, Utrust, they're no enemy to Inferno. It's safe to say they are the kings of Inferno, what it seems to be throughout this entire event, and so I'm very interested to see where this one goes. I feel like we were talking about in the pregame, they needed something to hope for in the veto, and I feel like Inferno just wasn't going to be the pick that I think that Umbrella definitely would have wanted out of that one.
Yeah, it's not a terrible pick. I think they've played it a fair amount as well. But it's kind of a super strong team being comfortable and a good team being comfortable. You would assume they're going to be playing to their best ability here. What with the stakes and again that week break that we've had in between for both teams, longer once again for Umbrella. So we'll have to see. It's a map they're comfortable on. Perhaps indeed they have done the work. It's hard to tell moving forwards whether that'll be the case. It's going to be an unpredictable one, I think, and it does depend on what kind of energy Utrust come in with. Their first game actually in the quarterfinals escapes me who they were playing against because it was so long ago now, but the team they were up against were decent. I think it was Ocean Protocol, if I'm remembering correctly. They were decent within the grand scheme of things. If they'd have been on the other side of the bracket, perhaps would have made it here themselves, to be honest, from what we saw. And a good 3 or 4 rounds went their way, few rifle rounds as well. It was like 6-1 or something. And then a pause comes in, and Utrust were like, okay, I guess we really have to play this game. We have to give the respect across here and approach things in our usual pro setting kind of way. And then they won like 14 rounds in a row or something ridiculous, and demolished the game. So they do have that extra gear, that extra level, turn the dial up to 11 available to them. And I think that yes, indeed, Umbrella might get off to a good start, but keeping it going against Utrust, well, that's another story.
Yeah, I feel like I don't want to say fluky rounds is the aim of the game here, but most certainly when you start piecing some rounds together, it just doesn't calculate a victory. We know dominance can be shifted in any level. You could get steamrolled 15-0 and still have a chance to bring it to overtime or to take it to 15. Or there's no denying that. And you see the bracket on screen right now. Utrust, as you mentioned, Ocean Protocol 6-16, excuse me, and then obviously Utrust beating out 16-2 in their semi-final game. Umbrella making it through obviously fairly respectable couple of games. I mean, one of which go into double digits against Chainlink, but it seems to be a fairly easy ride for them. But I feel like the worst is yet to come. I feel like this is going to be the brick wall that is 10 feet tall, and they're going to have to slog their way over it because I feel like Utrust, as you mentioned, the ex pros, they are the kings effectively on the server right now. They've got all the experience, they've got the setting, they've got the logistics, they've got everything behind them. I don't think not a stone goes unturned with this team in their history. So I'm excited to see where this one goes. But at the same time, you can only wonder how much is Utrust going to win by. Maybe Umbrella can pull something out, but I think the odds are heavily in their favor.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, keeping things close would be nice. Competitive would be nice. I think they're happy to have made it this far, and they are all decent players within the context of the game, the context of CSGO for sure. But yeah, in this tournament, again, it's very, very hard for us to not avoid the fact that Utrust just have the firepower, the pound for pound, much stronger team. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping for something a bit competitive, map that both teams are happy with, and a lot of time hopefully put in here by Umbrella Network to work on a few strats, a few executes perhaps, because Utrust will certainly have those in the back pocket. And I don't know, there might be a player that they could find, an area that they could find on the map that is easily exploitable and pummel their way in. I think the knife round will be quite important for sure. We have seen a lot throughout this tournament retro. Teams starting on the T side actually have more of an advantage because keeping that CT economy under wraps, and the very, very niche decisions that you need with that CT economy, I think escapes some of these players, right? They'll maybe buy a Deagle when they shouldn't, when they should be hard ecoing, and that affects them moving forwards, or head armor where they shouldn't, that kind of thing. Tiny little things that can really make the difference, and it seems like the T side not having to worry about that has helped a lot of these teams get off to a strong start.
I feel like discipline is the aim of the game here, right? As you were mentioning, economy such a heavy thing on the CT side. You've got to be cautious. You've got to be wary. Can I invest a Tech 9 into this round, or rather a 5-7 into this round, a CZ, whatever it may be? Can I get away with investing this with a flashbang or something? If the answer's no, some teams might make that mistake. There is that discrepancy that some teams could make some errors in economy, and I think that what you've said there is perfect. I feel like now for Utrust is going to just be all about, I guess, discipline rather than anything. They understand how the game works. They know how economy works, the mechanics. It's all in their favor, and that's another thing, right? Umbrella, as you were mentioning, they've had a very decent run within this tournament so far. I'm just interested to see what the professionals will fare up against a team like this, because yes, Umbrellas, they've made it to the finals. They've made it all the way. They've done an exceptional job to get here. But the question is, can they jump over that last hurdle? And I think this is their biggest hurdle yet. And so right now, I see you trust. That's all I see right now. And it's hard. I feel like for Umbrellas, they are the underdogs. There's no denying that. It's just a question of, can they get off on the front foot? As you mentioned, the knife round, very important. I think it matters most taking that T start for Umbrellas. I feel like they need to get rounds on the board quick, otherwise you trust the overwhelming factor will be there, and I think you blink and this game will be over.
Yeah, indeed. I 100% concur. They need to make sure that they have themselves a strong start, and no massive foots wrong. Nothing demoralizing like losing a 1v4 or something like that. That really could spell disaster. Should be into the game quickly here, folks. Hopefully not too much longer. We are just waiting for one player, funnily enough, from Utrust. So we will have to see how long we're going to be here. Hopefully try and get you some information in about that. But yeah, we're 9 out of 10. We're just waiting for one. Usually everybody's been good, starting up fast. He must have, run off to the loo beforehand, but he's in. Speak of the devil, mate. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. So
Hopefully, yeah,
okay.
in soon.
Yes, indeed. It looks that way as the warm-up is ending. Knife round should be getting started. So here we go into the game, folks. Grand final time. As we've mentioned, this knife round going to be very, very important to get us kicked off.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be the decisive one. Umbrella versus Utrust. The grand finals, the best of one. It's on Inferno. It's time, hopefully, to jump into the action very, very shortly. Do you want to make any score predictions, Scrib? I feel like it's a bit of a deep move to make, but do you want to throw a number out there?
It's always a difficult one, when we get to the bottom of the barrel, the fill barrel, throwing me under the bus.
Sorry, I apologize. I mean,
No,
I
it's
can
all good.
do
It's all
mine
good.
first.
I'm gonna say 16-8 is a realistic scoreline for me. If they can get to double digits, I think Umbrella can be happy.
Yeah, I was going to say something very similar. I was going to go a little bit lower. I was going to say 16-6.
Okay.
I think it's a brutal score line, but as you mentioned, there's room for error that Utrust could make, possibly a slight chance. But Umbrella Netowrk, this knife round means everything. As you were talking about, I think this right now is just us explaining that the knife round means a lot for Umbrella. I feel like it's one of those things where if you can get on the T side, as you mentioned, economy starts to boom, you can just try and pick up a couple of rounds. It means a lot. Utrust, I think they can just dig them 6 feet under immediately if they just if they win the knife, if they can get the T side. I don't even think they'll shy away from a CT pick, if I'm honest with you. I feel like this is going to be the world discipline factor. If you are pro players, if you are jumping into the server, why would you pick T's side? Maybe, just going for the AK, or possibly relaxing a bit on the economy before being a little bit more restrained in that sense financially. Possibly could be the decision. We'll have to wait and see very, very shortly, hopefully, as we are just waiting on a couple of things. All 10 players connected. Knives are ready, drawn, ready to stab each other to decide who will start where. We've laid our predictions down. We've said, Utrust heavy favorites heading into this one. I'm excited to see how this one goes down. I really, really am. Umbrella Network, they need a miracle, I would argue.
Yeah, for sure. Certainly to win. You know, if they can do better, if they can outperform our expectations, we can all be happy. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we're here for a bit of fun and I suppose a bit of education, you know, and crossing of circles, networking, getting people in this crypto space and seeing what Exeedme is all about, seeing what all these teams are all about as well. And hopefully some good Counter-Strike coming in a second. I do believe we're getting everything just set up and ready to make sure that it's all sorted stream-wise, I believe, is what we're waiting on here. So we'll keep rambling on, you know.
Yeah.
And it's what we're paid to do at the end of the day. It is our job. But nonetheless, I think you're certainly in the right ballpark, somewhat of a miracle to take the game here. But it does depend. It does depend. Some of these individuals, you know, have looked pretty decent. And like I say, I think Utrust straight out of the gate will need to come in dominantly. Will need to come in at the best possible kind of foot forward, right? And not allow Umbrella Network any confidence moving forward. Sounds a bit harsh, but pummeling them and keeping them down is really, really important. Could start with a knife round. I don't think you're going to get massively demoralized after you lose the knife round, but having that inkling of control to begin with really could give Utrust the upper hand the whole way through.
Yeah, I feel like it's more or less the losers don't really look into it too much, but at least the winners can go, you know what, we won the knife, we're on the right pathing, we're on the front foot. Whereas the loser, I mean, it doesn't really matter. The knife round only decides side. It doesn't really matter, you know, all too much else. Obviously, we know the story of economy within Counter-Strike, that CT side, the one that hurts the most. It looks to be, though, we are live. And it seems to be we are ready for the best of one. Inferno. Chat was complaining, I saw, that we got Inferno again. But, look, it's the last time, chat. Don't you worry. And hopefully the best till last. Umbrella Network versus Utrust. The grand finals right now. The knife round shortly going to be resumed as we jump into the action very, very shortly. I'm excited to see how this one goes down. Umbrella Network, we've talked about it. The underdogs, heavy, heavy underdogs, as we mentioned, going to need a hell of a mess of one ahead of them if they want to even try and put an indent into Utrust. The knife round is where it all starts, and arguably it's where it all ends. I feel like it's one of those things where if you win the knife, you're in a great position.
It's always nice. It's a good start. I think we have to be careful not to put too much emphasis, because what's going to happen, right, is, you know, we talk about this and the importance of the knife round, and then they'll get their side pick and then win the pistol, and then it'll be like 4 spies back and forth for 5 or 6 rounds. That's generally what happens, you know, when you hype something up, especially when we've been filling for a bit of time here. When you hype something up, it all...
Ooh.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Indeed. Knife round getting kicked off. We have waited very long to get into things here, but we are getting into the action. We've put a bit of weight on this as to get one of these teams off to a strong, preferable start. A little bit of our mini meta within the tournament dictates that it is the T side that looks good. It's round not bad here. Into the 2-on-2 though, and well, that's where the experience comes in. That the two of them are able to win, I believe, a 4-on-2 overall in the knife round. A little bit of a clutch. Once again, though, it's going to give you the side, and then choose the seat at the end.
Yeah, interesting. Very, very excited to see how this one goes as we do wait for everything to switch. We're ready up and jump back into the action once again. Utrust CT Umbrella Network T side as we are underway now with the grand finals. I'm very excited to see how this one goes down. It seems to be right now we've got all 5 players on Utrust with armor and umbrella. They've got a little bit of utility. At least there's smoke and a flash in their pockets, but nothing too substantial already. The flash, or rather, was a decoy expended towards the top middle. And it seems to be the bomb towards spawn and 4 players gunning it down second mid. Always seems to be the strategy of a bomb plant, but you're running right to the head of OBJ, and the bomb could be compromised in its first approach. But what? Oh, beautiful dink, beautiful first shot, spots out the man as well. Gonna continue to tap on down. Ploxy first to fall. Umbrella already. The HP a detriment, and they'll continue to try and re-engage, and Watts having none of it, and he lines up more heads. A second for him within the round. Oh my god, Watts. A third, tapping down from behind. The knives are out. Oh no, no, Utrust, come on. The first round is already doing that. The embarrassment is unreal.
Oh, that's it, isn't it? That's it. You know, our kick-off here, as we did say, you don't want things to start in a demoralizing fashion. Well, there's nothing more demoralizing in CS than getting knifed. Maybe a Zeus kill. Maybe a Zeus kill, to be fair. Debatable, though. Certainly debatable, to be honest. It's not a good way to kick things off, in all honesty. That's what I'm getting at. And once again, you know, we're in a weird kind of position here, right, where they're ecoing out the second round with 3 players involved. Not really ecoing. You can't buy next round on these players that have bought Deagle. The idea of ecoing this round is to get you done out as early as possible. You're thrown that by the wayside with this decision here. So you're in limbo now. You're probably going to have to eco the next one as well, which means you may as well have forced this. This is one of the things that we were talking about, right, when it comes to the economy play, and how it doesn't quite fit the perfect way to do things. And generally speaking, the economy is easy to work with. That is a clean Fiha. Does get interesting. These are the 3 scariest players on this team right now. And usually the case as well. Fiha always looking good. Oh, we're going to get taken down on the backside. He's dropped a rough flashbang, to be fair, but Watts has caught the eye of the T's. So therefore, the rest of the season and pick up the pieces. Bit of damage done. Not too much to write home about. And like I say, you can see Fiha can, because he got kills, but the likes of Bloxy, the likes of Vanji, I believe it was, who bought the other Deagle, all they've got is an AK, which really, especially for Inferno, is not enough.
No, absolutely. I feel like that round was a very limiting factor to utility. As you mentioned, you know, possibly the eco in this round and the investment of the next from Umbrella, but instead they decide to jump the gun a bit here and throw some rifles together in the third. The flashbang over the top. Nice, Ploxy tapping him down. Has allowed Decoy to be dropped from the round. The Creed tapping away towards middle. There we go. A second kill found. OBJ no more. Leaving the FAMAS, also shotgun, and the M4 in the equation. It was 2 MP9s dropped in the second, excuse me, and in the third it seems to be all the rifles falling away. And on Netowrk, surprisingly enough, Rebels pick themselves up the first buy of the round convincingly, as well as 4 rifles remain.
Yeah, maybe catching them off guard with that, to be honest. Certainly seems that they have pulled it out of the bag unexpectedly. Right, it's kind of what we were talking about as well. When you've got Deagles in play, Utrust are probably thinking the same thing. It's like, oh, they've got Deagles, they must have forced. Ain't gonna be no money for this round, but it's not the case. Nice early tag coming in, double nade down middle, doesn't quite find its mark. It's not a bad idea, but they weren't quite deep enough. That tag really coming into play here. More landing as well. OBJ is just so damn fast on this scout, finding a kill himself, setting up the first frag as well for Watts. Does get traded back by Fiha. The damage, it feels like, is already done. 4 on 3. Vanji also one shot to the scout. There he goes. And it's into a 4 on 2.
Beautifully done. Couldn't have asked for a better start for Utrust within that run. A very interesting round in the previous. You know, we saw Utrust drop in there first. Umbrella Network looked very confident. And now it seems to be OBJ whipping out the scout. And then being retrieved by his teammate as well. It just seems to be all the pieces forming nicely together. The flashbang, the team flash, in fact. But we will see a coffin smoke. And with that, we are going to see the execute out towards the B site. Flashbang over the top. Watts to drop the smoke on the flip side. And that sort of halts the progression that Umbrella were looking to take, towards B. They walk right on forward. Bomb drops. The MP9 claims its first. Rope jumper now against 4 to try and put Umbrella at a second. And he's good for 2 already. Can plant the bomb. So that's extra money in their pockets should they lose the round. Ooh. Well held. Now slips back towards a new box. Reloads the AK. Flashbang. Goes high. Swing. Imminent. Does spot out the first. But the AK isn't holding on the left-hand side. And so rope jumper swings and Prison. We have to pick things up quite nicely. AK retrieve 2, in fact. And Utrust find a third.
Yeah, this is part of the difficulty, isn't it? Sometimes you can indeed pick up a round. And honestly, it's very well done from Umbrella Network to find it this early. But the individuals of Utrust, right? Give them a deagle, and that's probably enough. We see the scout in that round is the weapon that does most of the damage, but you can never really write them off. You've got to show a lot of respect, regardless of the round, regardless of the buy. And I think, unfortunately, Umbrella Network trying to play them at their own game. Oh, I'm going to take this peak middle. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. And before you know it, you've lost 2 members, right? So very, very messy beginning from Umbrella Network. I think if they'd have just chilled a sec, gone for your early nades, maybe taken that tag down mid, you know, damn it, but we'll come back from it. Nice peek into apartments here. Really nice 2-man play. So you don't see a lot of CT sides approach the apartments that aggressively, but Utrust have done just that, found themselves the early opener, and they'll back away for free. Very nicely done.
What's interesting as well is that Umbrella don't really have the opportunity to trade that, right? The swing comes out, the M4 claims its victim, and Umbrella's just sort of stand there and go, well, what do we do now? There was no proactive movement to try and get the trade as they look for picks elsewhere. Vanjie looking very, very good with the AK, trying to tack away even more HP. Decoy down to 17, but he does stay alive, and that's what matters. Retaining that 5v4 is a crucial part to how this round is structured and how Umbrella now have to take extra precautions, but the damage they know has been done. OBJ, nice headshot. Fiha, definitely with a sore head as he wakes up with a bullet to the skull. And it seems to be Umbrella, yet again, at a bit of a standstill. Don't really know what they're doing. They have no control towards B, and so it is retained by Utrust. And then on the flip side, they don't really have all too much towards A. They don't have apartments control. They haven't explored out towards middle, and so this could be a detriment to them within this round, and they're looking to strike with some speed because they've got 15 seconds on the clock, and it's working ever against them.
Yeah, softly checking angles, not looking good. OBJ gets one, immediately traded out, but the damage already done, right? He was in for the assist, he created the space, and Utrust will come away with number 4. Umbrella, unfortunately, not giving themselves enough time, right? And then you have to be complacent. You can't be super clinical and check every single angle. That's exactly what happens there. They're going to go for a buy into this round as well. Not sure if I'm a massive fan of this one.
Yeah, I think this is a bit of a nerving one, I feel like, more than anything. Looking at the loss bonus as well, they're on a 3-round loss bonus, granting them 2.9k extra. Was this buy really needed? Not really. I mean, the Galil could have been invested into an AWP in the next round. We could have seen AKs across the board. Now we're looking, yes, possibly at AKs, but a lot of a harsher and more restricted buy in terms of utility. I don't think they'll have the luxury of buying the mollies, the smokes, the double flashes that we could have seen in the round before. And you'll see, maybe, just maybe, they'll squeeze out a buy of this one. But Utrust making light work in round 6, extending their lead to 4 and propelling themselves heavily in front. Again, Umbrella going to be put to their test, and this round means everything. We saw they had some success earlier with the rifles. They were able to piece together a round or so, but nothing really too much else coming from it. And so Utrust, they're going to be tested once again, but I feel like this is going to be an easy punish, I feel like, for them.
Oh, great flashing towards middle. Fiha needs to be careful here. They've not heard him, though. I suppose too many footsteps. A lot of comms getting confused. Goes for another, and Decoy's so very close to going down. A key trade to find, but it's a 4-on-4. Best chance Umbrella have had for a while. There's low HP bars dotted about everywhere. Al as well is going to get aggressive. Oh, and we'll get taken down. Boxing with a big frag. Unbeknownst to the T side, the B bomb site's open here. But all the same, they've got themselves a man advantage to work with. Let's see what they can do with it.
And it is going to be Decoy and low HP, as we saw the tag up heavily earlier as he took the fight towards apartments. And so Umbrella Network, they'll be gifted this B site. They have found out it's clear, it's open, we can plant. Big nade damage. Vanjie dropped to 35. OBJ with a flank as well, and this is where it becomes scary because Umbrella are pincered. They have to find a kill on the flank, and they do. That relieves a lot of pressure, but they've still got to be careful as an AK and an M4 still looking for blood. Already 3 players, all 3 in fact reduced to around half HP. Proxy to leave Watts' head rolling around towards CT. Decoy out now towards the site. Has heard the first, spots him out, finds the first kill. A second, but denied of a third. Proxy holds his nerve. A quad kill for him, an AWP retrieve. An Umbrella with a second, but at the cost of 4. A very narrow round. And Utrust, I feel like many bullets were dodged from them, but they still couldn't find themselves the right footing in that one.
Certainly given them the runaround here in a few of these rounds. Utrust not completely invincible, you know, still fall flat when they lose an early fight. They're not able to recover it back. So Umbrella Networks with some good signs. 3 Mac 10s into this round, though, is certainly okay. An aggressive one, but Ploxy, speaking of aggressive, just charging forwards, finding 2 heads, catching Prison, swapping back. This is a tight angle to deal with, though. Mail will take him down. Key frag, of course, but still a 4-on-3 here. What's rotating in? Not entirely sure. Are they pushing down long? No, it's actually going to be short. He rotates back towards B. So the A bomb site will be vulnerable here. Smoke's coming in. Only the one player in pit to really hold things down. Fihar finds his head. And now we are in with a very, very doable situation for Umbrella. 4-on-2. Honestly, I feel like you save if you Utrust.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be on the front of their minds, and there you go, already disengaging completely. 2 Mac 10s, though, interestingly enough, Umbrella. I mean, they do have a couple of guns dropped towards pit, towards short. I'm interested to see how Utrust are going to manipulate in their economy in the forthcoming rounds. You know, not being greatly invested into the next one could be a bit of a problem. Looking at it, they're going to get 1.9k for the first round loss bonus. It's not going to be enough to reinvest into this round. So do they force buy here? Do they opt to take another investment surrounding the AWP and AK, possibly in SMGs and Desert Eagles? Or do they eco and try and allow possibly for another save in the forthcoming rounds? We'll have to wait and see as we head into round 9. But the round lead reduced to just 2 as Umbrella Network take their third. Utrust, I want to say, a bit out of shape. I don't think this is a scoreline in which we were heavily expecting, but at the same time, I mean, it's nothing but the best from Umbrella, and we said they needed a miracle, and right now they're on the right path. They're able to piece together some very important rounds. They have what it takes, but it's consistency now that I feel like is going to be the only red flag, for me at least, between them and victory.
Nice little boost up. Nice find to open us up as well. That's exactly what Utrust needed. Bit of stability. 3 players in Banana. Secure control. Well, they've done just that. Pushing them down. Rope jumper as well. Lucky to be alive on 8 HP. I think they have set themselves up pretty solidly here on the CT side. A kill. Basically a second. And Banana control. Very, very nice opening indeed.
Utrust now, they don't have to over-aggress. They know. This is what we were talking about in the pre-game. The discipline that they have as a team. They just talk to each other. They just say, you know what, guys? We don't have to peek here. We just take the engagements where we need to. And here you go. You see, OBJ just trying to deal out some damage. He's not really looking for the all-important kill. This time he peeks and has some success with it. A second for him within the round. He might even be challenged for more, but the auto shotgun up close. Will it be checked? No. One pass, but it doesn't even matter. OBJ to line up one. And Van G to fall as well. A 6th on the board for Utrust. And interestingly enough, it seems to be the solo plays heroically being made by OBJ just converts. We saw the scout play earlier. Now it's the 4K with the AK. And 2 MP9 still invested by Utrust. We were talking about the dodgy buy. They've made it work. Heading into round 10, they've got to have the same success, though. And Umbrella, they're going to be in tip-top form heading into this one. But the only restraint is going to be those rifles in the economy, more or less, as utility spares, to say the least.
Yeah, they're pushing forwards here as well. Great find from OBJ once again. Banshee getting caught off by Decoy. That's the bomb. It does seem that Utrust have found their groove, he says. 2 very quick trades coming back in. Ploxy trying to do what he can here. Back into a 2-on-2, finding a little bit of method in the madness so far. Great flash coming in as well. Completely blinds up Watts. He's trapped down towards T-Stairs, and Ploxy makes quick work of him. Okay, here we go. Umbrella Network with a hero play of their own. Expecting Frizen to be around, but it's not the case. He's miles away. Oh, he's going to go for the push-in, though. This is risky. Finds the first, the second as well. Oh, no, it all unravels at the end. Umbrella Network had a great opportunity to pull that round back from the jaws of defeat, but they lose it. Utrust will be very, very happy with that. An absolute heartbreak over in the Umbrella camp.
Slips between their fingers. The 1 versus 2 working out perfectly. The AK doing everything it needs to do in that sense. And now, heading into round 11, Umbrella Network, we're seeing exactly what we'd have thought. You know, very varied by Molten opting for a Mac 10 armor, keeping $750. Everyone else above that $2,000 fresh mark. OBJ, good for two. The AWP swinging wide once again as it seems to claim even more victims. Good for a third. The no scope up close. The fourth might just be the ace. No, deny. But the Zeus there to save the day. The Squill. We were talking about embarrassing moments. We said the knife might just be second to the Zeus. And yet again, we see a play in which Utrust, their confidence is just swarming Umbrella, and they just do exactly what they need to do, and even do it in style.
Yeah, knife kill and the Zeus now. Certainly rubbing it in a little bit. Some close moments, don't get me wrong, and this is the kind of competition that we were looking for, right? Umbrella, certainly the heavy underdogs, but all the same, giving a good run for that money, for that $2,000 prize money, of course, to Utrust, and making them work for it. Another round in which they may have to do so. No kills as yet, but a lot of damage traded back and forth. Banana control gained by Umbrella Network here. Oh, there's 3 players very quickly towards this B-bomb site. They've got to be careful. Don't get caught off by it. Nades going in, not really finding any damage. 2 over towards Coffins as well, pretty deadly. That's a nice CT nade onto Rope Jumper. They're trying to spam away. Well, really, they're just giving more and more and more of the game away. They'll start to push in. The passive angles from these double orbs looking good. Oh my goodness, absolute demolition on the B-bomb site. Utrust move up to 9. No real sweat off their brow in round number 12.
That was a very nice round from Utrust. That wasn't even just the fact that they just mowed down everyone towards Banana. It was the fact as well, they did it in such cohesion. We saw the swing from Coffins happen late. We had the player swing from CT, I do believe, with the M4A4. And he was just able to pick apart the Umbrella side. And once again, reduced to just pistols. It seems to be the story of their terrorist half. And you can only wonder what that spells. And oh my god, that is going to be some big nade damage. And there you have it. You blink and you miss it. Utrust double digits. The tally taken even higher. An Umbrella left in the dark once more. That has got to be a big round for utility damage as I have a little look over to the scoreboard. It seems to be plentiful. What's at 309 utility damage? Male 196 seconding that. I think Van G's at 119, but all in all, I feel like nades from Utrust have been nothing but perfect so far. It seems to be every time we watch them, they just bring out something that impacts the round so heavily in such a single-handed way.
Quieter start into this round. Umbrella Network, I think, starting to feel the pressure. Oh, Ploxy, that is a dangerous peak, my friend. I think he was dead to rights there anyway. Maybe got one in an alternate universe, but not in this one. Fihar trying to make something happen in the apartments. Also not happening. 2 quick kills coming in. They're heavy hitters for this Umbrella Network side as well. So a 3-on-5 with no Ploxy, with no Fihar does not feel doable, if you ask me.
And OBJ just continuing to impress with his confidence. Another kill taken to his tally. Beautifully executed as well. And the trade is going to be inbound. Rope jumper, not to expect. What? Looking for a flashbang. Knows it dry, doesn't even matter. Utrust 11, Umbrella Network 3. The penultimate round of the first half checked off. And we head into the 15th. The final one for Utrust on their CT. We were talking about the fact that, you know, maybe the CT side was going to be harder. You know, managing the economy was going to be more of a detriment. Have you seen the buy? 5 AWPs. Oh, there's an AK, but I did see an AWP on Watts. I'm not sure if they're opting for the 4-AWP. 1 AK, is there one in spawn? I wonder. We'll find out soon. Maybe Watts will decide to scoop one up and we'll see 4 AWPs within the picture. But for now, OBJ aggression has found one. It's good for one, not for a second decoy. Looking for his re-aggression. Missed shot on the first, swings wide again, lines up the second. Rope jumper in the meantime, going to drop to another AWP, and these $4,750 boomsticks just continuing to rain hell. And there's even a Zeus in the mix. There's 2. Utrust, they're just looking to add fuel to the flame at this point.
Yeah, pretty much right. Tail end of the first half here, looking good. They have really found their groove in this game. It took them a bit of time, as it has in previous games. Same as we were saying against Ocean Protocol. I mean, pretty quick work of FIM, to be honest, but they had a couple players who were quite new to the game. But yeah, once they've gotten the ball rolling, pretty much unstoppable. And Umbrella Network, they need individuals to come alive. Also, a few mistakes from Utrust in order to win their rounds. And that is a formula that seldom appears, right? So I think it's been a tough ride. They know where he's at. Wanting to get another Zeus here. Frizen's in prime position for it, unless his Spidey senses start tingling or the teammate starts running. That might have put him off a little bit as well. In comes the first. Oh, and the second. Okay, here we go. Now into the one-on-one. Their overconfidence might just be their downfall. He gets through the crack. Decoy letting him cross, I suppose. Trying to go in close. Nade coming from close. Oh, playing in and around the box. Somehow Ploxy escapes the grasp of Decoy. Takes him down for a fourth. And will secure a pretty nice moment in isolation. A 14 kill half for him as well is nothing to shake a stick at. We'll have a little bit of a break in between the halves here where we can talk and really give a rundown of what happened there. And I think there's enough interest, there's enough competitive and close moments that Utrust maybe have to be a little, not worried, but careful, cautious in places starting in this second half. For me, I think the issue is now you're moving on to the CT side. You got to have everybody on the same kind of page. Obviously, Van G's not having a fantastic showing here, which usually he plays decently. Molten always hard for him on 100 ping, right? So your CT side needs to be spread evenly, and I don't think that's going to be the case for Umbrella.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Ploxy having a great game, 14-13, the only man on the Umbrella side to go positive. Looking at Utrust, though, I mean, it's been a whitewash for them, to say the least. You know, we're 19-10, OBJ currently sitting out. I feel like he was the standout player. We saw Watts with a couple of multi-kills here and there, but OBJ just seems to be the ingredient, I guess, for success for Utrust within that CT side. His AWP, his aggressiveness just works out perfectly. Some might say overconfidence, but I mean, sometimes you've got to be confident to win rounds, and you've seen exactly that. Utrust now on the terrorist side, economy is going to be better for them. They can spend more time shooting heads than worrying about if they can buy in the next. And I mean, it not really was too much of a threat in the first half, but I feel like that's even more pressure removed from them and relaxed in the second, as we hopefully will jump into the second pistol soon. Looking at the buys, I mean, it's going to be your bog standard. You know, there's a kit on Umbrella Network. Utrust, they've got plenty of armor to share around. The question is, will they invest utility into this one? We'll find out very shortly, but hopefully head into the game now as we get underway with our second half. Utrust 11, Umbrella Network 4.
It is looking very good for Utrust. And as we are painting this picture the whole way through, they are the favorites here. And I think now on the T side, where they, especially on a map like Inferno, can dictate the pace, dictate where the action goes down, they will have solid fundamentals, solid spacing, you know, protocols and things like that. Won't even need anything to advance. In towards the B bomb site, though, there's only one player here. He's trapped in at dark as well. Dead to right. Vanji will fall. Slight miscommunication, or maybe, you know, a super big brain read that does not go the way of Umbrella. It now means they're in a 5-on-4 retake, having to break in towards this B bomb site. Oh, a clean headshot for Mail. Looking good here. There's low HPs, but unfortunately not finding the shots. Rope Jumper, the first one to get a kill for the CT side. Now all left on Foxy. Certainly a danger man here. They do need to be careful. They're all very, very low. Down goes one. Down goes the second. And Frizen's on 4 HP. They've not given him the respect. They've not given him the room. He will begin to close the gap. He knows exactly where he is as well. Frizen trying to play Ring Around the Rosie. Gets it for a few seconds. Has he bought enough time? Yes, he has. Another great moment for Ploxy in isolation. But unfortunately, he didn't retrieve the kit of his fallen comrade. And the round will still go the way of Utrust.
What a round from Ploxy. The 4K, nearly the ace, and he even scoops up the kit at the end for adding disrespect as we head into round 17. And I feel like if your head isn't already turned towards Utrust, I think that said it all, right? Even though Ploxy with an unbelievable round, I mean, props to him. Just one of the most disgusting pistol rounds I think I've seen in a little while with the near 1v4, but unfortunately denied as we now sit in patience, waiting as Utrust continuing to gain the lead. Already up by 8, looking to do more as 20 kill strikes on 2 players. OBJ and Watts both sitting at those double digits above 19, and They're both looking to take their tally even higher. Already a 3 versus 5, make it, or rather a 5 versus 3, making it 2 versus 5. And now Fika alone against all 5. AKs have done their job quite nicely, and it's none other than OBJ to Sharp. We were talking about this man, the threat within Utrust for any side facing against him. Finally he falls, but the damage is already done. The round is gone. It's a 13th on the board for Utrust, and talk about a very speedy game. This has got to be most certainly up there.
Yeah, it looks that way. Like we were predicting, moving on to this T-side, Utrust is an unstoppable force, and getting the pistol is, well, really the straw, I think, that will break the back eventually. Might take a bit of time, slow bleed, but certainly not looking likely that we get the recovery from the Umbrella Network. Ploxy is bought again. Perhaps Deeg tilting. The worst kind of tilt. Everybody else on that soft eco with a few pistols in play, but it certainly seems like they are starting to come around to reality, come around to realistic end. Okay, that nade does minimal damage. Very, very strange. Classic nades in CSGO, but it doesn't really seem to matter all that much. Fire going to burn down Van G. Ploxy's going to have to go huge. 4T's round the corner. He's on the Deagle. Great little angle here. Does manage to find one, but easily traded out by Prison. That will spell the end of the round. There's still a player remaining on the A side that's here to cut off the rotation. So 14 for Utrust in the bag.
Yeah, 2 rounds away now. It's a time bomb ticking away, I feel like, now that Umbrella have no chance in defusing. Prison just showcasing the skins. Love to see it. Because right now, seems to be... I mean, Utrust are going to be very content with this. Umbrella Network, they knew that they had to hit some nice shots. Fika delivering one of them. But as you were mentioning, right, the concoction of success within this is that Umbrella need the solo play. And it's been from Ploxy so far, I feel like. They need that solo player, get a multi-kill. And then on top of that, Utrust need to make mistakes. And we know they're a side that aren't very prone to those sorts of errors. They're very disciplined as well. I've used that word before. I'll say it again. They are a very knowledge team, and that is because they've had that experience at the highest levels. And so for Umbrella, it's just spelling defeat. And right now, 14-4, 10 rounds on the difference. It's 2 rounds away from Utrust taking this 16-4, and one of the more dominating games I think we've seen in this tournament so far. And the grand final, I mean, I didn't want to see a scoreline like this, but you can only wonder, you know, what was going to be the end scoreline. We were going to see Utrust win this, but it was by a factor of what, I feel like. And Umbrella, I don't think this scoreline reflects them quite as much as I think they deserve. They're a team that, as you've mentioned, Scriv, you know, they've had a decent run so far. You know, they have beaten some fairly decent teams within this. They've showcased their skill on the server. This just doesn't reflect, I feel like, what we saw in the last 2 games that they played.
Pretty much. I was hoping we'd see a stronger showing from Umbrella. We do have the crawling train going forwards here. A new way of approaching the game, of course. Prison and Mail chiming in here. Looking good, but, I mean, other than that opener that they found earlier. Okay, and that headshot from Watts, I was going to say. Not a hell of a lot of damage here. Oh, great little read from him as well to watch the backside. Down goes Van G. That'll be 15. That was kind of the round that Umbrella needed to win to stay alive as well. Yes, it's not over just yet, but the money's not really there. 11 rounds in a row for Umbrella Network required is certainly not an easy feat. That is for sure.
The crab walk, the whole round, the crab walk. They're at that level of disrespect now. I'm wondering, what are they going to do within this one? Oh, Deagles. A lot of them as well. And there you go. They're throwing out the AKs. They're saying, you know what, we don't need these. We're going to have our fun. And there you go. They're throwing them out. All of them. On Desert Eagles. All 5. They're looking to have some fun. The crab walk Desert Eagle. Now, the crab walk, I feel like we've been betrayed. For those that follow the crab walk, it originally was with Jewel Berettas. That was the first time we saw it. I believe it was a Fnatic back in the day, right?
I think it was NIP, if I remember correctly.
One of the 2.
I think it might have been against Fnatic.
Ah, there you go. But look, they're doing it with these, and rightly so. Should have taken the Julies. They've been obliterated from both ways. They've got players hunting them down towards Banana, and there you go. Mail alone. I don't know, admittedly, he's not giving up just yet. He's still sticking with the traditional crab walk, head spotted, jumped, even thinks his teammate Fika to deliver the last 15-5. So Utrust are having their fun. At the end of the day, it's only money in their pockets. Now, this is the time where they're going to buy up. They're done with this. They want to end it now by the looks of things. And what a way to do it. 15-5. Again, match point, map point, championship point. And Utrust, I feel like they've got here way too quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, you predicted low at 6. Maybe they can hit that. My 8 is looking a bit off for Umbrella. I'd bigged them up. You know, I was hoping that maybe we'd done some work here. And look, I think there's some great individuals. One of them being Ploxy. He's just lost his head. So, Fihar with some nice moments in isolation. But not everybody chiming in here. This is another thing. Usually they have had Van G playing quite well, but he's had a little bit of a mare. Certainly trading back, which is nice. But yeah, I think, as I've mentioned a couple times here, not doing as well as perhaps they would like. And the CT side, it's very important to have everybody chiming in. Maybe you can forgive Molten, what with the connection, what with the situation. But either way, moving in towards the B-bomb site, looking solid here. A lot of damage actually traded back, so it could quickly sway out of control. And we have seen Utrust take some overly aggressive, let's say, plays in the past. But I don't think they're looking to mess this one up. Down goes Molten on the backside, so it's a 4-on-2 retake. Fihar finding one. Takes no damage for it, so that's pretty decent. Will he check this higher angle of Watts, though? That's the million-dollar question right now. Watts goes flying in, catches him while he's reloading. The flying gazelle maneuver leaves it all onto Rope Jumper. Finds one, gets the second as well. Oh, but Decoy will catch him in midair, and that will be all she wrote. 16-5. They didn't meet our markers, unfortunately, but the results that we expected all the same. Utrust were just the strongest team throughout. Super consistent, dropping, I think, 6 rounds at the most in their first game, and then eventually getting the rewards, eh? The rewards of that 2,000 shared prize pool, and of course, this trophy that we've got for the guys as well. Beautiful little NFT in just a secchi, while we get it ready. But yeah, a hell of a lot of fun. Playing very, very well. Indeed, teasing us a little bit. But I hope you enjoyed Retro. It was a fun little game.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the score line. I mean, we both. Oh, very nice, beautiful. I was gonna say the score line that both of us. I feel like we expected something of that stature, but of that dominating form, I feel like neither of us were quite so prepared for Umbrellas to lose out substantially. But I think something to note, right, is the rounds they did win, they did put up a fight. It wasn't just a one-sided affair. It wasn't a whitewash completely. They actually put a couple of rounds down to the 1 versus 1, down to the final moments, down to those really do or die moments within that game. And so Umbrellas, while they only scored 5, I feel like they did a lot more and deserved a lot more in that sense. But at the same time, I mean, you can't frown at the scoreline. You know, Utrust they demolish yet another opponent. It was just another pothole in the road, I guess. No real problems with that one. And 16-5 the end scoreline, couldn't have asked for a better result, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a difficult team to play against. They also came in all guns blazing. There was no kind of messing around. Winning 4 spies in places as well made all the difference, right? And making sure to keep that economy low of the T side. Very, very well put together, I think, and not letting some of the issues that they've had in previous weeks, like I say, that early game against Ocean Protocol, very, very one-sided to begin with, right? And Ocean Protocol were looking good, and then they just bounced back. This time around, there was no real requirement to bounce back because they came in with their strongest performance. Speaking of strong performance, we've got the MVP for you here as well, which I believe is going to be OBJ, having a great game throughout. And as you can see, the collectible provided here by the Chain Guardians, a team that made it to the semi-finals. Some of you may well be familiar with them. They provided semi-final MVP collectibles and, of course, the final MVP card of Hero. Very, very cool indeed. I believe the blockchain collectibles are quite the rage at the moment and maybe worth a few quid as well. So that's always good, and it will go across to BJ. And there you are. This is, of course, the semi-final MVP card. If I'm not mistaken, he might have won that as well. He was certainly close in the semi-final. Okay, it was Renato in the semi-final. So, all the same, these are provided by the Chain Guardians. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to Robbie, who was always great and very accommodating on the interviews. They were a decent side as well, to be fair. I mean, you missed that yourself. But I think their issue was rustiness. They all used to play back in the day to a pretty decent level. I believe Robbie said that he made it through to like rank S at one point, but the skills have died out over the past couple of years. So nonetheless, it is OBJ who is the final MVP.
Yeah, what a way to sign things off. The final MVP of the tournament, the champions, the cup is theirs. They very well. 16-5 scoreline, we mentioned, very well played. Couldn't have asked for a better game, I feel like. A well-deserved victory for them. And Umbrellas, I mean, there's no discrediting the team, right? They got all the way to the finals. They defeated some fairly, I wouldn't say tasking teams, but definitely teams that could have definitely thrown a spanner in the works for them. And so they did exceptionally well to get where they are. Second place, I mean, it's nothing to frown about. And so obviously, commiserations and congratulations to both teams respectively. But that's all we've got time for.
Yeah, indeed. Hopefully we will catch these teams in future, catch these companies in future, if everything goes to plan, even outside of the Exeedme platform. Do be sure, I think we're going to run it again, but do be sure to perhaps sign up for that private beta as well. Get things shared across to your friends once you are on. It is really, really cool. I got the chance to play the other day, and it's very, very simple, easy to work around, and a little bit of a chance to play and earn at the same time. So that's really cool. But indeed, that is going to be it from us. Thank you so much to all the teams. Thank you so much to the production side of things. Shout out to Ruffles, who's been handling that the past few weeks. And of course, shout out to Jack and Yumi, who have filled in the casting boots in previous weeks as well. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope we'll be back. Hello, welcome in everybody. We've got a nice new product here from Exeedme, their crypto gaming platform. I'm going to be showing it off to you guys. It allows gamers many skill levels to monetize their ability, right? It sounds so cool, and I'm pretty excited to show it off to you guys. So now I'm going to show you how the platform works. There are a few different game modes available. The 5v5 game mode is already up and running, but we're going to be taking a look at the 2v2 game mode here, and I'm going to be playing alongside 3 of my mates this evening. Okay, so time for us to place our bets here. We've all agreed that we're going to add $25 or 2,500 XEs, right? The currency on the platform here for this particular round, $100 in total. $50 each to the winners, pretty simple stuff. And I suppose it's time to put money where our mouth is, boys. Okay, I got him. One connector. Oh, I can already see the X's on my account, mate. Okay, all right, nice one. So we managed to get a victory in. It did take us a little bit of time. We played a few maps, but eventually we got our $50 each as well. That's so cool. And now I can show you guys how to withdraw it pretty easily from your wallet. So you can choose to cash out immediately with Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT. You guys know these, or you can even more X's as well. Enjoy, guys.
Exeedme, a revolutionary platform that allows athletes to compete and earn money in real time. Wherever they are in the world, they can be playing their favorite game, pushing players to the limit. Exeedme puts players competing against each other, measuring and evaluating their performance, taking them to a new reality. With our platform, you just need to choose your favorite game and place your bet. Exeedme will find the perfect opponent for you, matching your skills and experience according to your ranking. Know more about your emotions. Learn how to be more focused, more accurate, faster. Take it to another level. Exceed yourself and win. Exeedme, the evolution of competition.
Exeedme é uma revolução para jogadores amadores e profissionais. Podemos jogar, ganhar dinheiro e entender o nosso desempenho ao longo do jogo. Posso comparar a Exeedme a empresas como a PokerStars, que trouxeram a possibilidade aos jogadores de viverem de algo que até ali era um hobby e melhorar as suas habilidades enquanto fazem algo que adoram.